last weekend. Hit it really hard getting the engine put together. There was one box I was waiting for to show up. I did go with a Texas Speed cam, turning an upgrade kit. They're chromoly push rods with some beehive valve springs. The motor engine, is, I would say, 95% complete. It's in a state to where I can go ahead and get it put in the car. I do have a couple things I'm going to do on the top end real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and on this episode I want to focus on the specifics of what's needed to put the 5.3 Chevy truck motor into our 91 3rd gen Camaro. We're going to go over modifying the Flexplate to accept my torque converter and the adapter I got for it, the Dirty Dingo engine mounts that I showed in the last episode, and then also I got some Speed Engineering headers. I'm gonna show you those. They are sick. All right, here it is. This is our LM753 truck motor. Everything is put together for the most part. I am waiting on my front cover to show up. Mine had a crack in it and it's back ordered, but that's not going to stop me from getting this thing put in. These are Speed Engineering long tube headers. They're full stainless steel, TIG welded, $300 shipped to my door. Honestly, I didn't think that was terrible at all. It was almost a no-brainer. These things are going to solve my problems as far as getting, originally I was going to use the truck manifolds, and then I was going to need to adapt them down to my exhaust and probably have something bent and made, and then I was going to need the bungs still, which these, as you can see, both headers come with bungs already, which is perfect because I do have a spot for an AFR gauge, and then also our Holley snipers are going to need a spot to go. So with these headers, we're good to go. It was $300, comes with gaskets. Actually, I think I opted for the multi-layer gaskets with a bolt kit, and I think that's what made it $300. I think they're $269 or $279 from Speed Engineering. So these, oh yeah, and obviously these are made to go into a 3rd gen Camaro. It's part of their conversion kit. So stainless steel, I think they're sweet. I'm super excited about those. What I'm going to work on now is I got to get this flex plate off of here so that we can get it adapted over to our torque converter, and for that we're going to have to do just some slight modifications. And also I got a spacer that I showed in the last episode so that we can still use this factory flex plate that comes on this 5.3. So I'm going to get that tore off of there, and then we'll kind of show the process there. Alright guys, so here we are with the factory 5.3 flex plate, and sitting on top of it is the torque converter out of my Turbo 400 transmission. This is an aftermarket unit. I don't even know the specifics on this guy. I know it's got a pretty high stall to it. It came in the car when I got it, but it does have dual bolt pattern on my torque converter. But as you can see, if you look real close, those holes just don't quite line up. So one of the things you can do, pretty simple, is just using a tool, just waller those holes out a little bit, or just kind of grind them open. What I'm going to use, I call it like a rasp, or it's a carbide bit that I'll use. Take my time. I did a ton of measuring already. I kind of set it back in place just to show you what this is going to look like, but what I figured out was like from this flat edge right here to the hole is 3/4 of an inch on all three of them. I measured them out really, really closely, sighted it in, measured it some more, and I think if I really take my time and get these just right, I don't see any reason why this shouldn't work. I did line up these inside holes at one point, and I just decided to go with the outside ones. In worst case, if it doesn't work, if I don't like it, not happy with it, we'll just scrap the old flex plate and just buy the adaptive one. I'm really not too concerned. I mean, these don't have to be 100% perfect, because with this right here, which I'll call like a pilot bushing, this is an adapter I bought. I think it was $20 or $25, something like that. This is the spacer needed to get the snout of the torque converter to seat into the rear of the crankshaft on our truck engine. So this should line everything up. So as far as if these aren't 100% perfect, this bushing should keep everything centered the way that it should be. Now, I'm still going to take my time and be really careful with these because of balance. Theoretically, you want to take off the same amount of material on each one so that you don't throw this flywheel out of balance. So I'm going to get my bit here hooked up, and I'm going to get to cutting these holes out, and we'll see what we come up with. Alright, and there we have it. That was actually pretty simple. You can see our 3 holes. Got this one, that one, scribed them out. Used them carbide bits here to get them open. Got everything cleaned up. I'm actually pretty happy with it. This one's a little different shape because this hole was smaller to begin with. It was like almost, it was narrower but taller. So I just had to open it up a little bit, but I didn't want to take off too much material and make it match these because it was originally balanced that way. So I figured just leave it alone. But I set my torque converter up here. I got all sorts of room in there. And yeah, like I said, I feel good about it. We're going to give her a shot. Alright, I got her chained up. She's about ready to go. I got to pull it off the stand here so I can put the flywheel back on and then torque them bolts down. But real quick, I wanted to show you these dirty Dingo conversion motor mounts. I got them loosely installed. As you can see, they're adjustable. Probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood about right there, I'm guessing. Got one on either side. They're kind of cool because they're marked driver side, passenger side. And they're going to go down and they will accept those stock motor mounts that are still on my frame. So super simple. I'm going to go ahead and get the cherry picker unfolded there and get her hanging, and we're going to get her in the car. Well, got the motor in the car and took it right back out. Guys, it's day 2. Let me show you what I'm dealing with here. I got the engine put all the way back in the car, got it bolted up, and then realized I forgot to do something and had to take it back out. And really wasn't a big deal. It's super simple to get these things in and out. But let me show you some of the things I found, some issues I had to deal with while I had this in the car. Alright, so what I forgot to do under all the hype and excitement of getting this thing done, I remembered I had not 1, not 2, but 3 broken exhaust studs that needed to be pulled from the heads. These ones are sticking out a little bit, so I've got some easy outs. Hopefully I can just grab one of them and twist them out. The reason why I had to pull it though was the stud on the other side was broke off flush, so it was going to need drilled and tapped. Actually, I already got that done. It came out pretty simple. Hopefully these do as well. But I was talking about how easy it was to take this motor back out. These engine mounts are super slick because when you loosen these bolts, they're adjustable. So when you have the motor mated to the transmission, you can leave these bolts in, loosen these 4, and actually, while lifting a little bit, you can slide the engine forward on these mounts and get your clearances back here, and then you can remove these bolts and lift it straight up. The last thing, we talked about that adapter that's on the flywheel back here. Where I ran into an issue was, if you can see, looking flush down this flex plate, that adapter sticks out, and I think I measured it, it sticks out like 3/16 or maybe a 1/4 inch. Now the depth of this is perfect to fit the snout on my torque converter. And guys, where I think my issue actually is with my torque converter, because from this plate here, the snout sticks out, I think it was 3/16 of an inch past it. But what's happening is the snout on my torque converter is bottoming out in the crank before this anti-balloon plate can mate up to the flex plate. So there's a gap in there. Now, it's almost as if you could take the adapter out of my flex plate, but I can't do that because to slide that all the way up, the snout isn't going to fully seat into the crank, and that will pull the torque converter way too far out from the transmission. So when I have the motor installed and bolted up and I spread that out, I believe I had just a little over 1/4 of an inch. When I push it all the way in, my snout bottoms out, and then I'm left with, I don't know, roughly 1/8 inch, 3/16. And obviously that's too much. If I tighten that up, that's going to put way too much on my flex plate. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're just going to have to put some shims in between the bolts, in between the converter and the flex plate. And again, I think this issue is with my torque converter here, because this should all work out fine. And you can't change the flex plate. I thought about, what if I just buy the correct flex plate? Well, the correct flex plate comes with the GM spacer behind it, and it's a flat flex plate, and you can't change this because this has to stay the same for our starter that goes right here. So again, I think it's all in the torque converter. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get these studs pulled out of these heads, and yeah, then we're going to put her all back together again, and hopefully it's the last time. I'm not going to hold my breath on it, but we'll see what happens. Well, there you have it. She's in the car. I got them studs pulled out, which is pretty simple and easy. Made a few adjustments and set her back in the car. And if all goes well, I won't be taking her back out, at least for a long time. I'll show you quick. Dirty Dingo motor mounts I was talking about make it so easy to get these engines in and out. They're actually, I haven't tightened them up yet, but I do have a couple bolts in back there. I did set the throttle body on there just to get an idea of what we're going to be dealing with. But yeah, like I said, I'm waiting for my front cover still, so I can't do any of the front accessories. But other than that, I got a few other parts and pieces to pick up, and I think in the next episode we're going to start wiring, getting our sniper wired up and also our MSD. And I'll show you, I think, what I'm probably going to do with this MSD box. I think I'm going to mount it right up there on the dash, because it does have that controller on it, so you can change it on the fly. And this thing's not, I mean, it's pretty well gutted, so as far as like keeping the stuff clean, I'm not super worried about it. I think it'll be all right there, easily accessible, and I can plug the computer into it. So yeah, anyways, guys, thanks for tagging along so far with this. If you want to follow my build, please subscribe. And also that V-Rod Destroyer, if you saw that video, that bike is coming back. That was V-Rod Tom. He now owns that bike, and it is going to be back for a full season of racing. And hopefully I'll be side by side with him in this car at the local quarter-mile drag strip. And, you know, we'll see what kind of times we can do. Also, check out dreaminbig.com, drmnbg.com for gear and apparel. What they stand for is amazing. Go read up on them. Awesome stuff. If you notice, I'm usually kind of sporting a lot of their gear when I'm making these videos. I wouldn't call this my dream car, but it's been my dream to do things like this to these kind of cars and have fun with them. So, and that's what Dreaming Big is all about, is chasing your dreams, your goals. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to call it a weekend. So, dadgummit, you stay good. We will see you later.